All right, this is the last of our series in looking at assessment. This one looks just at a couple of authentic assessment ideas. I already showed you the product and performance assessment form. Just to review a little more, this can be used with any type of student product or performance. I use these when students did a science project or did a creative dramatics. Understand the principle, you can adopt and adapt this. But if you needed to have some numbers or give some feedback of some sort, I use this especially with arts, dance, creative art, music, whatever. It gives you some ideas. Adopt and adapt the idea. And again, we assess to give students feedback, to document growth, and to inform our own teaching process. A writing assessment form, a holistic type of scoring. Again, it is a teaching tool in that you have to define and then teach to each criterion that you are looking at, that you are rating. Here's a generic one that I used in a 5th grade classroom. I wanted to give feedback. The students I had were students with learning disabilities. I needed to keep them encouraged, find something that they could do well, appearance, mechanics, content ideas. If I wanted to focus on specific elements of spelling, grammar, and punctuation, again, I would create a more detailed one. And this is just a very general way, but this works. This is holistic scoring. Rating checklist for independent projects. Again, you define the criterion and the parameters, and this is for a research project. Here I had to think through what are the steps that students need to go through. All right, let's make them criteria. I can give this to them before they start the project. So not only does this help me design the project, but this takes students through each step of the project. It guides them along the way. Stinking rubrics. Now here's the thing about rubrics. Rubrics are okay. The difference between a rubric and a checklist is that a rubric describes each level of performance. It is usually a sentence or two. This is what a 4 is. This is a 3, 2, 1. All right? So you have your criteria on one side, and then you describe each level of performance. The purpose of the rubric is to provide consistency and accuracy of scoring. I find them very time intensive in their construction and use, and I do not find that I get anything more out of a rubric than I do out of a teaching checklist or a rating checklist. And again, it moves the focus from teaching to recording. Rubrics to me are too cumbersome to be very useful. All right? Are we focusing on measuring and recording or teaching and learning? A rating checklist provides much the same results and is much more pragmatic in terms of description. Right? This is an example of a rubric for oral communication. I described each level. And again, there's places for it to be used. I just find that it is too cumbersome for what you get out of it. And I'm going to leave you with this idea, the I learned statement or I learned web. I love these because this tells you exactly what students remember. It also is a good device to teach writing. What did you learn about? Students then choose 2 or 3 nodes, and they brainstorm ideas on each node. I like this for 2 reasons. It's a great writing tool. This is your topic. This is a paragraph, a paragraph, a paragraph, or section, section, section. It leads naturally into teaching of paragraphs, which most people have trouble with even at the graduate level. This also becomes a great tool to use for oral speaking small group speeches, where you stand up and give a speech about. So instead of end of the unit worksheet, where you ask questions and they respond to your questions, they look for your right answers. Here it's I learned about. This can be done as a post-reading activity or a post-lesson activity. I do this usually at the end of a semester. I learned about teaching. I learned about the human condition I learned about myself, or some such thing. Students stand up, give a 2-minute presentation. All right, just some ideas on authentic assessment. I've just scratched the surface. I'm hoping that you were able to get a handle on some of the principles.